Welcome to week 10 of CIT 253. We're going to talk about JSON. I'm Charles William Marshall. If you need to contact me, that's my email address, and use the cell phone during office hours. As I said, it's CIT 253. It's a 3-credit-hour course, and as always, Blackboard's the official way to turn in assignments and get assignments, but I do have a supplemental site, cwmclass.com. JSON, JavaScript Object Notation. JSON is the syntax for storing and exchanging data, and I hope by this time you've come to love JavaScript and the ability to use Ajax, and Ajax really doesn't work very well if you don't have JSON. So JSON is a text written in JavaScript object notation. When exchanging data between browser and a server, the data can only be text. JSON is text. I want to say that 20 times. JSON is text. It is text. It is text. Be sure that you understand that JSON is text. We can't convert any JavaScript object into JSON and send JSON to the server, but JSON is going to be text. We can only convert any JSON received from the server into JavaScript objects, or we can also, we can also convert, so we use it to move data both ways. It's a way that we can work with data as JavaScript objects with no complicated parsing and translations. Sending data, if you have data stored in a JavaScript object, you can convert the object into JSON and send it to the server with that code. Document type and so forth, that we understand what we're doing up here. And here's our object. And we're creating a variable called myJSON, and we're just using JSON.stringify my object. And it's as easy as that, because we now have a JSON object that we can move. If you receive data, you convert it back into a JavaScript object. And so we've got the paragraph demo, and again we're defining what the data, the raw data is, and we're saying, okay, my object is JSON.parse. And we can put that out into inner HTML that way. So we have a way to get it into JSON and a way to get it out of JSON. People are starting to store data as JSON. Regardless of where you choose to store it, text can always be a legal format. JSON makes it possible to store JavaScript objects as text. And so here's a place where we're doing it. And we're stringifying it, and then we're going to local storage and set the item test JSON to the value in that object. When we're retrieving the data, we have text equals local string get item, and the item we're getting is what we called it when we put it in, and the object is that we're going to parse it. And so we converted the text, and then we're parsing the text into an object, and then we're going to put that object's name into the inner HTML. So why use JSON? JSON format is text only. It can easily be sent to and from a server and used as a data format for any programming language, and it's widely accepted and getting more widely accepted all the time. JavaScript has a built-in function to convert a string written in JSON format into a native JavaScript format, the parse that we saw. So if you receive data from a server in JSON, you can use it in any other JavaScript object. Why use JSON? Well, since JSON format is text only, it can easily be sent to and from a server and used as a data format for any programming language, and many do. JavaScript has a built-in function to convert a string written in JSON format into a native JavaScript format, parse. And so if you receive data from a server in JSON format, you can use it like any other JavaScript object, because this will get you from JSON into an object. What are the syntax rules? JSON syntax is derived from JavaScript object notation. The data is a name pair value. The data is separated by commas. Curly braces hold objects. Square braces hold arrays, and then we're going to see more of that, and it's important. JSON data is a name and a value. The JSON data is written as a name-value pair. The name and value pair consists of a field name, in double quotes, followed by a colon, followed by a value. So if it's a string, you need double quotes on both sides, but if it's a number, you just have them on the name side. JSON names require double quotes. Java string names don't. Evaluate of JavaScript objects. The JSON format is almost identical to the JavaScript objects. So if we looked in JSON, we see curly bracket, the name value, and the value, the name and the value, and then the curly bracket. In JavaScript, we see it almost looks like the same, but we don't have to put, and we don't put the name in double quotes. In JSON, values must be one of the following types. It can be a string, a number, an object, which is really powerful because you can have JSON objects inside JSON objects, an array, a Boolean, or a null. In JavaScript values, you can do all the above, plus any other valid JavaScript expression, a function, a date, or undefined. JSON Files is a file type called JSON so that operating systems understand what's inside that file. The MIME type of JSON is application/JSON. Here's an example of JSON. You have the fact that you have employees, and then you have an array of employees, and then you have first name John, last name Doe, first name Anna, last name Smith, and so forth. But the difference between the curly brace and the square bracket tells you when you get to an array. In an XML file, it's more verbose, and you have employee, and then you have the first employee, and then you have the second employee, and you have the third employee, and then you have the end of employees. So they sort of have an array, but you have to have closing. And so JSON is like XML. Both JSON are self-describing, i.e. you can read it and tell what you got. Both JSON and XML are hierarchical, values within values. Both JSON and XML can be parsed and used by lots of programming languages. Both JSONs and XML can be fetched with an XML HTTP request, so you can use AJAX. JSON doesn't use an end tag. JSON is shorter because you don't have the end tag, and JSON is quicker to read and write. JSON can use arrays. XML is much more difficult to parse than JSON, and it's partially because the applications, web applications, use JSON so much that they've really customized and optimized for it. JSON is parsed into ready-to-use JavaScript objects. For AJAX applications, JSON is faster and easier than XML. Using XML, you can fetch an XML document, using XML DOM to loop through the document, and then extract the values and store the variables. Using JSON, you have to fetch the JSON string. You can use JSON.parse on the JSON string. JSON.parse is a common use of JSON is to exchange data to and from web servers. When receiving data from a web server, the data is always a string. Read that again, is always a string. Parse the data with JSON.parse, and the data becomes an object. Here's an example. So you've got this JSON, and if you say the variable obj equals JSON.parse that JSON, you get the answer. And you can go the other way with stringify. And so when you're sending data, it has to be a string, so to convert an object into a string, you can use JSON.stringify. An example is, you have this object, and you can say var my JSON equals JSON stringify object, and you've converted this object into a JSON, PHP has built-in functions to handle JSON. Objects in PHP can be converted into JSON by using the PHP function JSON encode. And here's an example. So we've got our JSON, or we've got our object, and all we've got to do is say JSON encode my object, and we end up with JSON. And then we can echo it and see it. The client script, we have JSON.parse to convert the result in into a JavaScript object. So inside our XML HTTP request, we've got our usual, is it a 4 and is it 200? And right here we're saying that my object is going to be JSON.parse the response text. And then we're going to, when that happens, set the inner HTML equal to my object name. And so that's the rest of the AJAX call. It's easily to be translated in, JSON can be easily translated into JavaScript. So we've got this object. We're going to stringify it. We're going to have a new request, and we're going to check for 4 and 200 like we're used to. And we're going to say JSON.parse the response we get back. We're going to have the text equal to a table border. We're going to step through the 4, build the table. At the end, we're going to add the end bracket, close the table, and then set all that into inner HTML. So this is how simply you can build tables and get it back into HTML. And then, the end of the AJAX type call. There's a thing called a JSONP. All the AJAX we've seen so far will only go to something on the same server and in the same domain. But with JSONP, we get by with that. It doesn't use an XML HTTP request object. Instead, it uses a JSONP script tag instead. JSONP stands for JSON with padding. Requesting a file from another domain can cause problems due to cross-country policy we've talked about, but requesting an external script from another domain does not have this problem. So JSONP is how we get there. It uses that advantage to request a file. So you have something like script source equals, and then we make a call to, and this could be fully defined, some PHP someplace in the universe. The server's file would look like my JSON and build JSON, and then echo that JSON out, and the result returns to a function called my function. To make sure you got to make sure the function exists or it won't work. And so then you're going to have a function, my object, and it's going to send my object's name into the inner HTML. You can create and insert the script tag. So that would only load when you did the page load. But you could have a function click button and create a variable s. We created a script. We can say the source is equal to that, and the document body is append to child s. So this is going to the DOM, to the body of the DOM, it's going to append whatever it's got in s. So every time you click the button, you can fire that, which is really powerful. There's one thing we haven't talked about, it wasn't in the tutorial that I'm kind of trying to lead you through, but past experience has told me that this is worth the price of admission. There's a PHP function called var dump, and if you're debugging, it is a wonderful thing. So if you have a variable called a that is this, you can var dump $a, and I'll show you what's put out shortly, but you can var dump any variable, and as you're passing stuff back and forth and trying to understand what's coming from databases and so forth, this is a way to understand if, well, you know that the second value is whatever. This is a way to actually tell. And so it's going to mess up. If you look at the page source, it may break your HTML, but you're only going to use it while you're debugging. And I would suggest that you keep in mind that function, var dump. And what it puts out would be something like an array 3, which tells you that there's 3 objects in the array, and then it puts out the values and says, so the first one is an integer 1, and the second one, because we're 0 based, remember, is an integer 2, and 2 has an array of 3, which has these values in it. So again, it's a way to find out if what you think you've got is the value that's actually floating around in your code. JSON is really important, and so I've taken the time to try to lead you through the high points, but I suggest that it is important for you to go back and look at this link, and I'm not going to read it to you because you can cut and paste, and step through the tutorials from JSON Intro through JSONP. Some of it will be a review, but it gives you a chance to see each step and play with it so that you really get comfortable with it. Again, the goal is not to learn or memorize syntax. What you're trying to do is learn concepts, because you're going to be sitting at a computer and you can Google the syntax. There is a JavaScript report that I heard about from Ms. Garrison that I would recommend for your consideration, and here's the link to it. It doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about today, but as you start using more and more JavaScript, it's a really nice way to do graphics. So this is CIT 253, a 3-credit-hour course, data-driven web pages. This is the week 10 discussion of JSON. I'm your adjunct professor. I hope it was helpful, and if you have questions or comments, please email me at that address, or during office hours, call me at that phone number. Thank you.